Well, hello, everybody, and happy Monday. Welcome to CHLY 101.7. You are listening to Act 3, as you know from our fine introduction. I'm Kathy Holmes, and I'm really glad to bring you something very interesting today. Kaya Bliss is the name of her name is Kaya, but her organization is Kaya Bliss Healing Remedies. And she's going to talk to us today about CBD and the importance of helping to use that to maybe make some of your pain go away. Do you want to tell us a little bit about who you are, Kaya, and welcome to the program?
Hi, Kathy. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here. Like you said, my name's Kaya, and I'm the owner of Kaya Bliss Healing Remedies. That's a small business here on Vancouver Island. I make cannabis infused topicals and uh, whole, raw, organic products with CBD. CBD, I'm sure everybody has heard of that now. It's definitely catching on. There's a lot of pros and cons, I guess, in the cannabis industry right now. Of course, there's big changes happening. It's more available to us, which is absolutely amazing. Some of the craft community is still out there doing what they can. And CBD, for starters, I guess I should say, the human body, everybody has an endocannabinoid system.
Hmm.
So we are naturally meant to have CBDs in our system. Way back when, we used to get it from what we would eat, like cattle, dairy. We used to be fed hemp-based foods, and we would naturally absorb these CBDs through our meat and dairy and things, which is not readily done anymore because most of that livestock is fed um, not the way we used to. So we're seeing more and more pain and um, things with disease, cancer, all of that's on the rise. And I really truly believe that it's because we're not naturally getting CBDs as we should be. So it's great that we can access them more. Everybody should use them regardless of if they have a disease. It's also good for disease prevention. It really can, it fights free radicals in your body. It increases new healthy cells. Um, it encourages homeostasis. So homeostasis is basically being able to keep a balanced, stable body. So no matter what you're struggling with, that's a good thing, of course.
Oh, absolutely. But I
Yeah.
think a lot of people get really confused, as you said, with CBD. Yes, it's more readily available, but there's a lot of people that are really unclear. You did make a really interesting point, though, about how our cattle at one time offered this in our natural way of eating, and we've lost that with overprocessing
Yeah. Factory farming.
and factory farming. Yeah, it's made a huge difference. And you're quite right in that many people now are seeing disease more than ever in their body, or certainly are not able to keep the nutritional value of the food that they're consuming the way we once could. So I'm curious about CBD and what's the difference between CBD and weed or or THC. Like there is it the same? Because I can't imagine my cow working with me in the THC framework. So just to put some clarity around that would be great.
Well, you can get CBD from cannabis. There's a whole bunch of cannabinoids in marijuana or cannabis or ganja, whatever you prefer to call it. But people can harness just the cannabinoid itself
Hmm.
without the THC. So they can use that for non-psychoactive healing remedies. But you can also use hemp as a source for CBD, which is what I prefer, especially for pets or youth if parental discretion advises it,
For sure.
because it's just a safer way to source it without your THC. But CBD is a great starter if you're new and you're a little bit leery. Definitely, you want to start with a CBD. My personal experience is a full spectrum. Can be a little more helpful for certain diseases because THC really helps to attack cancer as well. But um, that's a whole nother discussion. So we can just keep focusing on the CBD if you like. But yeah, so I prefer to use a hemp-based CBD because it's just a safer way to source it for my clients and what they need. But I also, if anybody, is in need of different products, I'm really resourceful in the craft cannabis industry, and I could help coordinate people with, resources that they may need for individual problems.
So I don't mean to sound ignorant, but I have to tell you, I really am. Just right from the get-go. I know nothing. I mean, I certainly do have some good friends that have taught me a thing or two here or there over the years, in regards to cannabis for sure. But in the big picture of things, I don't understand the difference between cannabis and hemp. What exactly is hemp?
Well, hemp like you can make paper out of hemp, you can make sails out of hemp. Hemp is completely different than marijuana itself. So marijuana is like a female plant. You get a bud from it. You can use it for different things. A lot of people will smoke marijuana. You get a little bit of CBD in that, but usually it's between 1 and 3%. That's why more people like to source it from hemp, because you get a higher ratio of CBD and no THC. Um, but yeah, they are two completely different plants. And I'm sure if you were wanting to, well, yeah, I guess that's
There's
for
lots
me.
there's lots of movement that goes with that, in all fairness. I
Yeah.
mean, I think that the good news is that, marijuana is legal now. And so but there is a difference between marijuana and hemp and CBD and the results of THC, right? And so I just, for people like me out there as listeners that are not really clear, I just wanted to kind of figure out the who's who right from the basics. And also CBD in itself, you mentioned that it's already in our bodies, or our bodies really, used to be.
We're equipped with the endocannabinoid system and receptors that want
Mhm.
CBD in our system.
And so again, just so that I understand what that means, if I introduce that into my body, is it the same way as introducing a vitamin supplement to my body?
Well, it's definitely going to be helpful. Like I said, it helps to balance and create homeostasis. So if we are suffering with like it's sort of the king of herbs. It's a miracle plant. So whatever you're suffering with, it will target that naturally for you. So if you have anxiety, if you have stomach pains, if you have back pains, your CBD is going to send what it needs to the receptors in your body that are the most in desperate need for the help.
Mhm.
So it really will vary for individual needs, but um yeah, I wouldn't be concerned. Like CBD is completely non-psychoactive. It's you're not going to feel a narcotic effect from it in any way. It's just going to boost your immunity, fight free radicals, and it's really the king of herbs as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Some people say that it's really good for pain. Is that true? Do people use CBD specifically for pain? An alternative to,
Definitely. Aside from being like anti-inflammatory, it really can help soak it right into like deep, like muscle, joint, nerve pain, inflammation, bruising, things like that we commonly are feeling. Bodybuilders will use CBD pain rubs, like knee injuries. Like I started my well, something that I made, my first product was something I made just for myself, and it was a pain salve, and I used it for my feet because I have the feet of a 70-year-old lady. And so that was one of the only things that would give me relief at night. I couldn't stomach sleeping pills, really didn't sit well with me. So I'd rub that on my feet every night, and within 15 minutes, I'd ease off to sleep because my pain would be so greatly reduced.
oh, wow,
Um,
that's incredible.
yeah, so and you can use it topically or internally. Localized areas of pain is better for the rub. But if you're gonna use it internally, it's nice to consistently use it so your body can keep its cannabinoid receptors at an even pace and helping you with your pain or whatever you're dealing with that you some people also use it for sleep. So if you're having trouble at night, either from pain and the pain goes away, you're easing into sleep easier. It doesn't have the harmful side effects that a lot of pain pills or sleeping pills will have, aside from like a lot of the pharmaceuticals are really harmful to our liver. There's side effects that are far worse than like CBD would ever have. It is generally pairs fine with other medications. If anything, it can help with the side effects from other medications. So that's also a benefit to CBD for that. Um, Even I know addiction and mental health is a big one as well. So people are suffering with um, forms of that where CBD can be helpful and keep them from maybe taking some medications that aren't as good long term. So if they can find a natural remedy
Mhm.
and stick with it, I definitely can help. But it is best to keep it in your system long term if you have severe pain. The localized stuff is
So
it's for acute.
is there a dosage for, this product? And, I mean, and as far as delivery methods are concerned, what are some of the delivery methods? You did mention right away that there's a salve, but when you speak of internally, what might that look like?
Um, so you can CBD can be paired with different carrier oils that you can ingest. I use fractionated coconut oil with mine. It has a better shelf life and it's easily attached to the cannabinoids to absorb into your system. It can it can take a little bit longer with an oil-based tincture versus an alcohol-based tincture, but usually within 45 minutes, you're starting to feel the effects from it. Kind of the same as if you were to take a Tylenol, 20 to 40 minutes. It's really hard for me to say what your individual dose is until I get to know what your problems are. But a general dose, like the government recommends 10 milligrams for their general dose. Obviously, if you have a really bad headache or a migraine, you're going to have two Tylenol instead of one. So in that circumstance, maybe you need double the amount that day. Um, Things like that, or pain, like everybody has different pain tolerance. Somebody might just need a tiny little bit of the rub. Another person might need a little more, depending on what their injury or the severity of it is.
Are there any side effects to CBD if you ingest it?
CBD really doesn't have any narcotic side effects. It can help be calming. It can help um, relaxation, de-stress, like a mood stabilizer. A lot of people will use it for, yeah, it can also
You
fight
talked
tumor. Sorry,
Sorry,
it
you
can fight
talked a little
tumor
bit about
growth.
anxiety, and so you spoke a little bit about anxiety, and I think that right now with COVID-19, so many people are feeling very, very anxious and concerned about their future, about their family's future. Have you seen an uptick of people that are interested in the product because of that?
Definitely more and more people are open to trying it, especially with it becoming legal. It's out of the woodworks now. You can't deny that the benefits are what they are. There could be more research done, and of course, you'll be seeing it more and more as that is being done. Like for instance, for pets, the veterinarians are still a bit leery to offer CBD for pets, um, but I'm sure next year they're going to be selling it right to us alongside the Metacam because they're just trying to work out the kinks.
I have to say
Um,
the kinks work really, I've recently started using your product for my dogs, who you can just hear right now in the background, who's now telling me that she wants a snack with her CBD on it, I am sure.
yeah,
What I know, what I've really noticed is it certainly helped her with her recent anxiety. She's an older dog now, and she is in some pain, although I'm not clear what that is. And I'm just astounded by how fantastic your product is. It's one of the reasons why you're on the show, actually, is because I just
yeah.
love what it's done for my dog.
Yeah, it's definitely a game changer for pets. And dogs also have an endocannabinoid system in their body. So it doesn't surprise me that it works so well for pets. Everybody loves their little fur babies and nobody wants to see them in pain. I know myself, I have two little dogs with different issues. One of them has extreme anxiety. She's a very neurotic chihuahua that only a mother could love. And the other one is a pug with a little bit of a knee problem. So she's really benefited from the CBD. She went from being on controlled leash walks to running around the yard like a puppy, and even the vets couldn't believe how much improvement she has made. So
That's
for pets, for sure. And it's like I said, with the people, medications have harmful side effects on their liver. It's the same with dogs. And if you've been to the vet before, you've been prescribed things that are better for acute problems, but not long term. So with arthritis or aging pets, you want to find something more natural that works. And CBD is definitely a great alternative. Um,
absolutely. And I mean, as I said, I can certainly see the value in my own dogs. Like you, my dogs are smaller dogs. And, you know, the amount that they have changed as a consequence has been wonderful. I'm curious about using the salve on pets. Can you also use the salve?
well, I have made a salve that's got less essential oils in it, just because some essential oils are a little easier for pets, and you want to be careful with them as well. But I have made just like a plain salve for individual skin problems for clients, and it definitely has helped. Our cat had a growth on her back, and it had been irritated by something, and my mother kept rubbing the salve on, and about after 2 weeks the growth had healed up and come away from the skin, and it's never grown back. And uh, I said, well, now I can't say my products aren't tested on animals, but it was a positive experience anyway.
Yeah, well, I know we worry about testing on animals, but you know, again, I'm sure you're testing it on yourself before you're ever testing it on your pet. Uh,
Yeah.
you also offer a variety. I've, you know, recently you have, and but usually around this time, I tell people to go grab a piece of paper and a pen because they're going to want to reach out to you and find out more about your product. So while you and I are having this conversation, you know, keep your radio on, folks, turn it on up and go grab a piece of paper. But meanwhile, you know, I noted that you have a lot of other products as well, bath products and things like that. Can we talk a little bit about those kinds of therapeutic ways of using CBD?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, topically, there's no psychoactive effects, and for me, I like to tailor my remedies to certain ailments with the addition of essential oils. So for things like headaches, migraines, um, allergies, stress, and whatnot, you can use your CBD, and you can also blend it with essential oils that will help alleviate different symptoms of stress and pain. And um, it's just widens the horizon for what it can actually help you with. Skin problems, of course, alone, it's amazing. But when you start adding things like organic products that are organic shea butter, organic olive oil, beeswax, evening primrose oil, all of these things are wonderful for our body. They're all natural and completely safe. So you can blend them for certain skin problems. I've actually won an award for my skin salve, and it has 9 essential oils on top of the the CBD spectrum. You have tea tree, so it's antifungal, antibacterial, antimicrobial, speeds healing, wounds, itching, bug bites. There's no shortage of things it can't help with. Um, and it definitely can treat even the toughest of toe fungus. I've had bodybuilders even tell me, "Oh, I used your pain cream for my back problems, and it cleared up my back knee." So I thought, well, that's just one more thing to add to the list.
Mackerel, that's incredible. Very interesting that it can do that. And it's surprising how things can sort of morph when you have one expectation over another that sort of rises to the top. And so I'm curious, Kea, like, how did you get involved in all of this?
Well, I guess you could say I was born into the industry. I didn't realize it until a few decades into my life here, but I was raised by some pretty interesting parents, so fun-loving hippies, I suppose, and they brought me up in a
Oh,
pretty natural environment.
yeah.
So I, pardon?
I said, yay for us all
Yeah,
hippies. Yay.
yeah. I'm grass-fed since the womb, so and I've always had compassion, compassion for the plant, compassion for people. Earlier on, I worked for the Vancouver Island Health Authority, so I was in nursing for about 10 years, and then I had to take a leave of absence for a personal disability. I had terrible feet. So I've had multiple surgeries on my feet, which made it hard for me to do my job with the
Oh
healthcare.
my.
And while I was home on disability, I that's when I started really playing with the salve and natural remedies because the doctor every time I had a surgery, the doctors were just pushing more pills and more pills and morphine. And I said, well, I don't like morphine. It makes me feel nauseous and makes me uncomfortable. And a lot of the times, even the medical professionals who are supposed to be professionals are just saying, "Oh, you'll be fine. You just have, you know." And one time I was sitting in a hospital bed and the nurse went to up my pain medication. She didn't even ask me. And I said, "Oh, well, what is that?" She says, "Oh, it's just some more morphine." I said, "Well, I don't actually want that." And they don't give you a natural alternative. So I started trying to source that out for myself, and it really, now I'm prescription free. I make all my own remedies. I have different things for different issues that sleep problems. I have an evening tincture. It's lavender, rosemary, organic herbs are also added into it. So they're they promote relaxation and like raw herbs. I feel like you get a more rounded healing from them versus all your pharmaceutical crap that they're shoving in there with tons of side effects. Every commercial you watch, it says, all of the negative things that it causes, but cannabis doesn't have any of that stuff. CBD especially is just like I said, it's a miracle plant, and I'm so glad that I found it because um, it really has changed my life as far as being prescription free. And I walk around now. I don't have pain, and everything I'm doing is I just I, I started for myself, and then as I became making these products, my neighbors or down the road, grandma, somebody would need it, and um, while I was off work, I focused my passion on that, and now I'm doing it full time, and it's desirable. A lot of people are sourcing more natural remedies, especially organic based ones. I'd like to think I have a high standard of quality ingredients, so I'm not, just any old Mary Jane. I'm definitely
Pardon
um,
the pun there.
yeah.
So are you finding that the government is loosening its restrictions, or did you find in putting together your company, did you face a lot of difficulty in working with the government, or did they come down in any way because CBD wasn't, legal until recent? I mean, I think I would expect that CBD in its natural form, as you said, from hemp, would have always been legal, but
You
was
would think it should have been.
or should have been, right? But was that the case? And how have you managed to get through all of that?
Well, definitely, like we're the frontliners. The craft cannabis industry has been protesting for decades, the importance of what it can do. And like I said, we're really the frontliners of the industry, and it's us that have the blood, sweat, and tears have been pouring out on. And the government never wanted any part of it until the people started demanding a change. And a lot of the time, that's what needs to happen is you have to demand for a change. And we all know, I don't want to get into conspiracy theories, but we all know there's no profit in the cure, of course, until the government gets their claws into it and will then just resell it back to the public. Now they're telling us it's fine. But if that's because we've really been pushing for all of these years, trying to make it mainstream. It's definitely hasn't been easy. There's days that you want to, throw the massage oil all over the floor. But
No kidding.
um,
No kidding.
yeah, I persevere because of the feedback I get from my clients and the emails that I'm receiving, and like family members are crying, and well, they used to hug me, but now of course with COVID it's
A little harder
kind
to
of
do that for
yeah.
sure.
But
Yeah,
like when you're credited for saving somebody's life, or inoperable lung cancer, and they're saying that my products is what has changed that for them, and like they're cancer free. I've been credited for uh, helping with bladder cancer, lung cancer, and it's every time they say, well, is this going to cure me? I said, it really depends on the person and your positive attitude. Obviously, alone, it's helpful, but you want to really gang it together and have, it's not just CBD, like healthy living, healthy lifestyle, food, activity, things like that are all going to um, benefit your long-term success for being healthy.
absolutely. I know, I understand that completely. I've been sick for over a year now. Most people who know me know that I suffer from ulcerative colitis, and I have been
Mhm.
on the medical side of the spectrum now for a year. Prednisone has made me gain 45 pounds in the outside of 4 months.
Yeah.
I'm a much heavier woman than I've ever been, and the side effects from the steroids have been incredible, and very, very hard on my system, not only physically, but mentally as well. And as a consequence, I've had the disease for 30 years. I'm very well aware of its ebbs and flows. It had been in remission for 4.5 years. When it woke up in vengeance. And so I thought I would give CBD a try to see whether or not it would help with the inflammation. The verdict, in all honesty, is out. I've only been on the product for a short period of time. And frankly, like I said, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm doing. So I feel that there's a lot of people in my same situation, whether it's an irritable bowel disease or whether or not it's the disease I'm looking for, the autoimmune deficiencies, whatever that might be. So many of us want to give something else a try because pharmaceuticals are so darn difficult and very, very hard on the body, not to mention how darn expensive they are. I've
Yeah.
recently, moved into biologics, and I'm coming off of the higher doses of steroids. It's a process. It's absolutely a process. But what would you say to someone like myself who, is out there listening, who has an autoimmune disorder or has a bowel dysfunction or cancer or any number of ailments that we're all experiencing as we get older? How do we give this a try and feel safe about it?
Well, definitely don't give up hope, because these things can take time. Um, something, a lot of people will take their meds once a day. So if you have a problem that's really severe, maybe try splitting up your dose to some in the morning and some in the evening. So your body has a more consistent level of CBD coming in. Um, uh, I would try to um, maybe take a little bit higher of a dose if you have a
What
severe.
average dose be though? Like for someone who's just starting out, is it 1 drop, 2 drops, 10 drops, 12 drops? Like how does somebody know what's the right dosage? Like on the aspirin bottle, it says take 2 aspirin every 3 to 6 hours, right? Or 3 to 4 hours. What might that look like from a CBD perspective?
Um, so CBD can take about 40 minutes to 2 hours to fully take effect. So if you're starting your day, you're needing, you have to go to work, you have to be a functioning member of society. Make sure you take your medicine maybe up to 2 hours in advance before you need to leave the house or before you're needing to do those other activities. So it really has time to set in and provide some relief. Um, it can take a couple of weeks for it to really start to notice its effects. A maintenance dose, like the government suggests, 10 milligrams, I feel is a maintenance dose. So if you're having more severe problems, you're going to want to take a higher dose. So for me, I recommend a 30 milligram dose. Obviously, you can take more if you need. There isn't going to be a harmful side effect from it. But if that is what's working for you to take a higher dose, then that might be what you need to bring your inflammation down and to bring your symptoms down. And then once your body gets back to a more natural, harmonious state, you can start taking less and do a more maintenance dose. But if you're having a crisis, you need to attack it with a higher dose to start. And then simple things aside from CBD, water, drink some extra water in the morning. Um, but the inflammation, like the CBD can help with the inflammation internally. It will go through to your bowels as well. Hopefully with time, it's going to reduce all of those things for you. CBD can help, well, most importantly, for the brain, it reduces inflammation. So neuroinflammation, it causes neurological conditions. I believe with time, most people can ease all their symptoms, or many of them, and just don't give up. Keep trying.
Yeah, I love the philosophy of not giving up. And I think that most people choose not to give up, particularly when in fact, if anything, they want to look for alternatives. You pointed out when you were a nurse, how difficult it was on your feet. You had problems with that. And I mean, I'm sure it took you a number of years to finally find the right salve to make that all work properly for you. So patience and time most definitely is part of it. Lots of people are afraid to give this a go, though. What would you say to that person who might be a little bit more trepidatious?
Well, maybe, you know, try a small amount on a Sunday when you're at home in a really comfortable environment. Don't do it when you're headed to Costco and you might not know what's going to happen. Um, Try and become comfortable if you're trying something new, anything you're trying new. They always say, do a test batch, try a small amount, see how you feel, increase from there. And, that goes with everything and CBD.
And as you said, CBD is very different than THC. You're not going to get stoned on CBD. The idea behind CBD is to go into your existing system and work with your system to create the necessary pain relief or whatever that might be for your body, whether it's, however it appears in your body as a problem, the CBD will go to that problem. Is that how I understand you?
Yeah, it really targets the areas of need all on its own.
Like you said, it's a miracle worker, right? Absolutely
Definitely.
miracle
King of
worker.
herbs, as my mother says.
Herbs, king of herbs. So I'm curious about another part of this conversation in regards to the process for which the product is made. Is it made with heat? Is it like how you blend it in with these wonderful oils and incredible others, not oils, but herbs? How long does it take to create this fabulous product?
Well, every product is a little bit different. Some things I can make in an afternoon, and some things get a cold process soak for 3 to 6 months. So different oils get treated differently. I am working with like specialty organic oils a lot of the time. So gentle infusion. I don't like to use a lot of heat. Like with anything, you're burning off the healing properties with heat as well. So I like to go low and slow.
I like the low and slow part. That's just me. I'm low and slow. That makes perfect sense. Is there any First Nations contribution to this and the healing powers of herbs through that modality? Have you learned a lot from First Nations community, or have you just sort of explored this on your own?
Actually, when I was in school, I took a recreational therapy program, and while all the other students picked to go to different facilities, I chose to go to uh, the Heritage Center in Duncan to learn about their healing types of things there, and I definitely got to witness just how they treat their people and everything. They're they're wanting to incorporate herbs, natural food, all of those things, and the CBD can be incorporated into food as well. Um, they have a like the medicine wheel for the natives is amazing, and as far as I'm concerned, in Canada, like our culture is the native culture, so we really should try and learn more about it and embrace it because they have a lot of good points on natural healing and what down to our roots, what it used to be and things that used to work that aren't really seen as much anymore.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree with you more. You've called this the craft cannabis community or the craft. Um,
I
how
say I
that's
say that because it's I don't feel like factory farming, commercial farming, small scale producers that are able to provide more quality product. That's what I mean by craft, because we all know you can get everything at Walmart, but it's not the same as if you're going to go to the farmer's market. You're not going to get it fresh. You're not going to get it, you know, made with love. It's going to come out of a machine. And I
Absolutely.
just,
Yeah,
I
and
think the
so
craft cannabis industry has, been marching their way through for the last few decades, and they really deserve a shout out because they're persevering despite struggle.
And
So,
I'm so glad that you worded it that way because it's true. It's a movement at this point too, to see some real changes in the way that we look at healing, to step away from pharmaceuticals, and it's always taking that other road less traveled that gets us to some of the most wonderful opportunities for health and healing. And we know historically that herbs have been able to really fix so many problems that pharmaceuticals can't. And that's well before it either ever became industry. Um, you're
I
really
think there's even reference to marijuana in the Bible, actually, that, they call it the tree of life.
absolutely. And I think that there's so many things that are that we discount because we are not commercializing them. So I do think that it's important that we recognize that people need to give this a chance, rather than immediately be afraid of it. I mean, it kind of feels a little bit for me. I'm old, but it kind of feels
Oh, you're not that
that
old.
old. I'm not that old. I shouldn't really say that, but I'm not I'm an older person when it comes to a lot of the I'm a 60s kid is what I am. So I've been around it for most of my life in some capacity or another.
Hmm.
That and I think that for most people that are in my age group, it's like this is a good thing. Why didn't we do this sooner? What's the big deal? What's the holdup? What's causing so much frustration? And why are people just now saying, this is okay, or the government is saying this is okay, when in actual fact it's been with us for such a long, long time, and most people are comfortable with it. I think what we're not comfortable with is the commercialization where it becomes so cost unaffordable the way the rest of pharmaceuticals are. Um,
Yeah.
have you noticed that there has been in the craft cannabis industry, has there been a movement to putting removing a lot of the regulations, or what does it look like from a bigger kind of a global perspective looking down, do you think? What do you think is going to happen walking ahead?
Well, there's constant motion for sure. We're all working on things. Even like there's a cannabis substitution program is being given a lot of flack right now in Vancouver, and all they're doing is really trying to provide free medicine to people in need. Very like compassionate prices, free donated medicine to people on the streets that are trying to get off of drugs. And that's something that the government is still fighting us on, and it's really unfortunate that these people are finding something that works, but they're still being told no. And these volunteers are being, arrested and ridiculed, and they're constantly being shoved further away from the goal when really they should be, helping us rise up, because what what is the harm in the cure?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And what we're really finding is that the cure. Um, I kind of lost my train of thought just as I
Well,
was. It's because I'm so frustrated with the amount of bureaucracy that there is when there's so many things that we are giving away that benefit, but we're not willing to do some of the
yeah,
least.
I feel like the government doesn't want us to rise up just yet because they're still trying to figure out how to make it work best for them. Their goals are probably a little bit different than some of the craft community, but ultimately, providing, cannabis infused remedies and natural alternatives to a lot of the problems we have should be the goal. Natural healing, finding the cure, even, uh, back way back in the 60s and 70s, things like psychedelics, natural. I don't know if this is a little too touche subject, but um, a lot of our antipsychotics, antidepressants, a lot of the medicine that we're prescribed today has come from the research of, psilocybin back in the 70s. And,
Absolutely.
they used they used that to get all this research they need to make medicine that they now prescribe back to us, and now they're telling us don't use the natural remedy, take it from us instead, and here's all these side effects that are now with it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you 100% on that. I really am. I mean, even morphine, right? Some of this was,
Well, yeah,
you know,
morphine is a synthetic form of heroin, so
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in all fairness, it's a difficult conversation in some ways because people are, I don't want to throw everything in the same bucket, right? These are not the same drugs. Oh my goodness.
yeah.
Oh,
They know the CBD ladies on.
ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to that right now, let it be known it's because I'm getting a delivery just as we speak, and my dogs need everybody to know that it's coming. So my apologies.
Yeah.
Mute. Tell us more about your experiences while I mute them.
Sounds good. All righty. So let's see, what else can I touch on?
One thing you can share is your contact information. Now's a great time to share how people can reach you.
Yeah, so I do have a online website. You can reach me there, kayabliss.life or kayabliss.com. That's Kaya Bliss, Bliss. Um, and there's a lot of content there. You can read about the products. If you have allergy information, it's all listed online for you. Um, I also have an Instagram and a Facebook page, so you can catch me there. As I said earlier, I'm really resourceful. If there's anybody out there in need of some questions answered after the segment, please feel free to shoot me an email or a Facebook message or an Instagram message, and I'll do my best to help you with your problem or to direct you to someone else in the craft cannabis industry that might specialize in what you need.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And once again, we are doing this show via Zoom. So if you've just tuned in, let me just fill you in on what's happening. We are speaking to Kaya. Kaya owns Kaya Bliss Healing Remedies, and she's sharing her points of view regarding CBD, cannabis, and the variety of different tinctures and such that can be made from this and how it affects our bodies. And so I'm really grateful that you have been here today so far, Kaya. It's been a really interesting conversation, and I truly appreciate it. My dogs even thought it was such an interesting conversation because I pipe in a couple of times. So my apologies for that. As we get closer to the end of the show, though, we always try to imbibe, a message to community on, really in the big picture, what our takeaway is. What would we like to really let people know about CBD, cannabis, your experiences that would help someone make an informed decision?
Um, so like I said, you can reach me by email and I can answer any questions there. I'd really like for people to take home not to be afraid of cannabis and CBD or cannabis topicals. Like I said, they're non-psychoactive. They have no narcotic effect when harnessed properly. And anybody, every Tom, Joe, and Mary Jane can do this stuff at home too. You don't have to buy your natural healing remedies online. You can try and source them out yourself and do what you can to tailor things to your own need, which may be cost effective for you. Of course, we know cannabis is legal now. You can grow your own 4 plants. So in spring and summer, if you want to try and become a little bit of a natural healing remedyist yourself, you can do that at home. And I'd love to help you with that journey.
Well, it is a journey too. I mean, I think that a lot of people, now that you can have those 4 plants at home, are wanting to try some experimental ways of using the product. Some people find edibles to be an easier way to process the cannabis. Do you sell edibles and things like that as well, or is your
Well, edibles are a bit of a gray area still. Like I said, the dosing is a bit tricky with the government recommendations of only 10 milligrams. So, edibles are really great alternative for pain medication, and they can help people get off opiates as an alternative. Um, but I would definitely be more than willing to help direct people that need information with that privately. Um, but definitely edibles can be made at home. Coconut oil is a really great thing to use. It's shelf stable. it attaches to the cannabinoids fairly well, and then you can be trying to make medibles yourself as well. Um,
Worth giving something and try to make yourself. Frankly, I don't know if I want to go down that road. I would I would rather
well,
know.
then please contact me.
I think contacting yourself and crafters much like you are really the way to go. I really want to express my gratitude for what I've learned so far today. Thank you. I know our community likewise is feeling the same. We really. This is it. It's new and it's not new. If that makes any sense, I think that there's for the older adult population certainly. While we certainly understand cannabis in the bigger picture, there are new ways that it can be utilized for our health benefit. And as I said, a lot of people, they've never tried it. They don't want to try it. They're scared to try it because they're afraid of getting high. And I love that you've clarified that, this isn't about that. This is it's
No.
a different delivery system. Uh,
Yeah, if you want to get high, you go and roll a joint, but we've come a long way from rolling a joint.
yeah, I love that. It's true. We've come a long way from rolling a doob. No question about it. It's a different delivery system. Um, and I just think that it's important that people maybe give it a try. Our doctors, just because we're getting, closing the show here, our doctors are a little bit more open to helping with the concept of CBD now. Are you noticing a shift at all?
Well, I think they have no choice but to start to realize that there is needs to be a shift, especially for like youth. That's going to be the next breakthrough is to be able to provide like high CBD products to children to prevent seizures and all of those things that, we're a little bit leery to try them on now, but it definitely is going to be big breakthroughs for children and pets as far as hospital visits and veterinarians in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. And I certainly think when we're talking about the seizures and stuff in young people, there has been a rise of that historically in the last few years. And so we're wanting to know, there's all the different connections that we have between diet and, and environmental issues and things that are causing some major changes in the way that our bodies are processing things and reacting to the world. I am definitely not an expert at that. I know nothing about it. I invite anybody who wants further information to talk to the professionals. Kaya, let's give your information to the community again. You're the professional when it comes to CBD. We're so glad that you've been here so far. Please tell us once again how people can reach you.
Yeah, thanks, Kathy, for having me. It was awesome. Once again, you can reach me on my website, kayabliss.life, or Kaya Bliss Healing Remedies on Instagram and Facebook.
Thanks again. Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in. You have been listening to Act 3 on CHLY 101.7. We do want you to remember the seniors in our community as well. This is the season of giving, and this is the season when things start to really, that we start to really notice the things that are missing in community. We have a new initiative in Nanaimo and along Vancouver Island, and hopefully it'll take on the world and the province. And that's putting a bell in your window, much like the Hearts Project, where people were putting hearts in their window. We're asking everybody to put a bell in your window. The bell represents the isolated seniors and all older adults in our community. Let's remember them this year. We know for sure that during COVID-19, so many have been in isolation. And so it's important that we let them know that they matter and we care about them. So please, when you're doing your decorations and your holiday festivities, pop a bell in your window. Thanks so much. And once again, thanks for tuning in to Act 3 on CHLY 101.7. We'll see you next week. Have a great day.